Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Networking Squared, Saturday morning, 1-800-923-9385, 1-800-923-9385. We welcome your calls, and I'm back here with Mr. Al Crawford.
Hey, welcome back, everyone, and sorry if that the baseball hit was a little loud. I know that got some looks in here. So
yeah, Mr. Al Crawford is baseball crazy. Actually, he's kind of a sports guy. I wanted to talk about catching things, and I wanted to talk about using a sports analogy, saying that you're bringing up baseball. And Al, when you want to go catch a baseball, are you catching it where it's at or where it's going to be?
Well, I think you always have to go where it's going to be, because otherwise it's past you.
So when we were talking earlier today, putting together the show, we talked about how business was in the 80s and the 90s, and it was kind of like the baseball really didn't move very fast. You could go over and go catch it wherever it was at. You never had to give it a lot of forethought. And in today's world, you're going to have to catch the baseball where it's going to be. And in networking and in business, if you are not working on catching your customer where your customer is headed and where he's going to be, you are going to miss out. So for us running over and catching the customer where he's at, you're missing.
Yeah, things have changed. It's not the same as it used to be, and I love that analogy. The baseball analogy is true. I guess I can look at it from saying that I'm playing in a field that has a fence, which is the way it used to be, versus a field that doesn't have a fence. That ball's gone, and you have to know how to go and get it.
And you're going to have to get on it right away. So in networking and in business, you have to be prepared on where your customer is going to be and where networking is going to be. And that's one of the things that we want to teach. Don't chase business today where it's at. Business moves so much faster than it did before. We have to go chase business. Facebook. We're talking a lot about Facebook and how to use it. Well, guess what? If you're not up with Facebook right now, where's Facebook going to be 2 years from now, Al?
Well, who knows? I mean, we're talking about 800 million people that are on Facebook now. 800 million people. I'm thinking it's not a flash in the pan.
We were reading this morning that they're talking about maybe adding email to Facebook. Google is thinking about, we're reading in a Wall Street Journal this morning, Google is possibly thinking about putting together their own Google site as a networking site. What did you hear about that, Al?
Well, it's true. It's something where this is always going to be something in motion. If you think that this is static, that this is the way it's going to be a year, 2 years, 5 years from now, you can't be that way. It's not a static thing any longer. You have to be able to change. And we may find that on this show a year from now that there may be something that Google has invented or somebody else has, and that may be the thing that we have to be a part of. We all have to understand that these are all tools. These are all tools that may or may not help our business, but we have to keep our minds open, and we have to be listening to what our consumers and what our customers are asking for, and we need to be able to react so that we're there when they go there.
Tools change. As in construction, my dad was in construction, and as a young boy watching him using a hand saw and using a bit and brace and all of the things that they used back then. Today, it's lasers and it's cordless tools, all of the power tools. It's constantly changing, and those tools in construction, we've got to apply in networking because those tools are changing, and they're changing very, very fast.
Right. I mean, I think, again, back in my beginnings in the mortgage industry, it was pretty simple. You had an ad in the Yellow Pages or you made outside calls. That was it. There was nothing else that you had to do. And those are two things that are very unused now, or very, I guess, dinosaur stuff now.
Would you prefer to use networking tools and being out at events to network, Al, or would you prefer to do cold calling?
Well, I've done both sides, and I would much rather be around people that know who I am and know what I am and be able to educate them on what I'm doing versus approaching strangers on a daily basis that have no idea who I am. I have no credentials with that person, and I just find it being, in my eyes, a huge waste of time when there are so many other tools available for me to use.
Where do you learn these kind of tools, Al?
Well, it's a situation where you need to be open-minded. You need to be able to be self-taught in some, But in others, it's talking to people. When you are networking, when you are talking to people, ask them the tools they use. When you're watching TV, pay attention and look at what the companies are saying. Tell me a commercial that you see right now that doesn't have a Facebook or a Twitter page. It's universal.
Well, Ford launched one of their vehicles on Facebook here just a little while ago.
Yeah, the Explorer.
Yeah, that's it. And now, if Ford Motor Company is going to launch the Explorer on Facebook, don't you think that they've done some research and it's pretty important?
Absolutely. And I think that we are all fooling ourselves if we do not have that presence, because our customers are expecting it. And if you have a storefront, if you're not using these tools, if you don't have, as we talked about the apps, if you don't have Foursquare for your business, if you don't have a fan page for your business, this is what people are expecting today. So it's all using these different tools. And that's the one thing we want to stress to our listeners, is that not one thing is the answer. It's using, that's why we reference it as tools. You have a toolbox filled with these different pieces. Networking is the core. Going and meeting people and learning about who they are and what they are is the core to all of this. But using these other tools is how you expand it and how you can make your business that dynamic thing that people are looking for.
We have a knowledge of several people, and part of them are in Local Business Network. We have a very good friend that is in the carpet business. And how much of his business comes directly from networking?
95% of his business, and this is a person that does nothing more, and I don't mean to diminish this, but his entire day begins with attending a networking function. And he's out there educating people on what he can do, but more importantly, he's listening to what other people are saying. And not only does he get 95% of his business, but he's also the person that generates the most referrals in our organization. So it's a two-way street. Givers get. I say it all the time. Givers get.
All right. And I've seen other people in the networking group, Al, that are going, you know what? I'm not getting anything out of this. It's not working for me. I've done this for 6 months. It's not working. What do you tell them?
Well, it's a conversation that you have to have first. The first question is, what are you putting into it? Is your message clear? When you are giving your presentation, when you're talking to people, are you asking them for what you need? Are you educating them on what it is that you're doing? And most importantly, are you giving referrals? Because the more that you give, if you give me a referral, the way I look at it is I owe you. And now I'm going to be trying a lot harder to be able to give you a referral back. If you're not, then why should I even try?
Well, I can understand that. And I have worked with those same people. And I'm going, if you attend a networking group out of one of the many that we know of, and all you do is attend twice a month, and you have no other contact, you're pretty much wasting your time. Stay home.
Right. I always look at it from the standpoint that every day is a networking opportunity. And so I have 5 morning opportunities. I have 5 evening opportunities. So that's 10 a day. That's 40 opportunities a month that I have to go out and educate people on who I am and what I do. And that's not counting, midday things. So even if it's something where your job or whatever you're doing is limited in time and you can only do 8 or 9 or 10 things a month, think about how many more opportunities that you're going to have than just going to something that's going to be once a week or twice a month. That's not what networking's about at all.
But isn't this exhausting? Aren't you like telling me to be out at this meeting, at that meeting? I got to run here. I got to run here. Do you actually have time to do your business if you're doing those kind of things?
Well, that's the point, Jerry, is that if this is what I'm doing, then the time that I had normally been spending telemarketing and cold calling, I don't have to do that anymore. So I have a lot more time to work on my proposals and my follow-up calls and my customer service. Those are things that I can spend so much more time on and have so much more quality time to spend on those rather than driving around the city or trying to find somebody to buy my product.
Well, it is a lifestyle. And as I talk to people about it, if you're going to network, it's your lifestyle. I get up in the morning, I'm going to think, who am I going to meet? Who am I going to talk to? If I'm going to be involved in Local Business Network, I want to find out what areas, what groups I can go see. I want to make sure that I'm tied in because Local Business Network is also tied in with most of the chambers of commerce around the area. I have to be tied into my local chamber because I want to be my community. That's my community. I want to work with my community, but my local business network or my local networking group helps me tie into a region.
Right. And I think that the other part of this is that where the social media comes into play is tying it together. When you leave a networking function, get their business cards, invite them to LinkedIn and Facebook. And it's a really easy way, and it's a great way to be organized and organizing your...
All right, let's talk about tools on the other side of this break. Thank you for joining us, Al Crawford and Jerry O, Networking Squared.